Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're really getting into a huge moment in rock history, the 1970 Isle of Wight Festival.
Yeah, it's iconic.
Uh,
But we're going beyond just the music, aren't we?
exactly. We want to uncover some of the intense human drama behind the scenes. We're using Kenny Denton's Chronicle. He was a sound engineer there.
Right, his firsthand account. And it's quite a story. We're talking huge pressure, some really unexpected clashes, and even a pretty chilling warning about a massive star.
It's that whole thing, isn't it, when the kind of unwritten rules of rock and roll meet, well, a very stern record executive.
And a young engineer caught right in the crossfire. That's really the heart of it today.
Okay, so let's paint the picture. Isle of Wight, August 1970. This thing was enormous.
Absolutely massive. Held at East Afton Farm. It kicked off Wednesday, August 26th.
And ran right through till early Monday morning, the 31st.
And the numbers, well, they vary a bit, but the general consensus is something like 600,000 people. Just imagine that.
Unbelievable scale. So who was capturing the sound? That must have been a huge job.
It was. That was the Pi Mobile team. They were, one of the go-to outfits for live recording back then.
And the crew included Vic Mail, Neville Crozier, Alan Perkins, Tony Carey.
And Kenny Denton, our source. They brought their whole mobile studio down, took the ferry from Southampton.
Right. And the actual setup started Tuesday.
They arrived Tuesday the 25th, yeah. But the main setup really got going on Wednesday.
So Neville and Alan are out there, sorting mics on stage.
While Vic and Kenny are inside the truck, trying to make sure all the sound feeds are coming through, okay, to the desk.
And the communication sounds, well, a bit makeshift. A headset wired to this orange box.
Yeah, with Neumann U67 power packs inside. Great mics, those U67s. But using their power supply for comms. It shows you the kind of custom rigging they had to do.
And it wasn't always reliable, you said?
Apparently not. So Kenny ended up doing a lot of running back and forth, literally relaying messages between the truck and the stage.
Wow. Gives you a real sense of how hands-on, maybe even frantic it could be back then.
Definitely. Before all the modern digital stuff made things, well, maybe a bit easier.
Okay, so that sets the scene for this first clash. The opening band, Judas Jump, is playing.
And Vic's still trying to get everything dialed in. Kenny's by the 8-track machines, which were state-of-the-art for location recording, then, proper multi-tracking.
And suddenly this American guy appears at the truck door. Stern-looking New York accent.
Ask Kenny, is the tape running?
And Kenny, thinking maybe he's the band manager or something, just politely says, sorry, not at the moment.
Big mistake. The guy's mood just flips.
He gets aggressive.
Yeah, demands, run the fucking tape. Just like that.
Whoa. So Kenny looks at Vic, his boss.
Vic gives him a nod, so Kenny starts the tape rolling. What a way to start the festival for him.
Well, talk about pressure. And Vic's still busy marking up the soundboard.
Right, trying to get organized. So when the next artist, Kathy Smith, comes on, Vic tells Kenny, okay, stop the tape.
Figuring there's no point recording her just setting up. Makes sense.
Well, it made sense to them. But the American guy wasn't having it.
He comes back.
Oh, yeah. This time he goes into the back of the truck, where Vic is. He looks straight at Kenny. Is that tape running?
Kenny says no.
And the guy just explodes, shouting, apparently, run the fucking tape and leave it fucking running.
Okay, this is where Kenny really shows some nerve.
He does. He looks this guy in the eye.
And says, pointing at Vic, he's my boss, not you. I do what he tells me.
Pretty bold for a young engineer facing someone clearly important and very angry.
Seriously, was that common, or was Kenny just particularly gutsy?
It was definitely risky. You didn't usually talk back to the client, especially not that client.
So what happens? Vic steps in.
Vic, looking, as Kenny put it, a bit sheepish, just tells Kenny, put it in record.
So Vic knew who this guy was all along.
Seems so. Only then does Vic explain. The guy is Teo Macero from Columbia Records in the U.S.
A client.
Exactly, the one paying for the Pi Mobile service. He's overseeing the whole recording operation for Columbia.
Right, so Macero basically held all the cards.
Pretty much. And Macero apparently tells Vic that if Kenny steps out of line again, he's out of the truck. Period.
Ouch. Must have been incredibly tense after that.
Kenny described it as a noticeable silence between him and Macero. Lasted right through until Sunday.
It really shows that classic tension, doesn't it? The sort of artistic process versus the money and the deadlines.
Yeah, Macero needed that tape rolling, maybe for contractual reasons, maybe just his way, but it forced the crew's hand. Record everything, sort it out later.
So let's jump to Sunday, August 30th, midday. Things have presumably been tense but functional between Kenny and Macero.
We assume so, given the silence. But then Kenny sees Macero saying goodbye to people.
Which is weird, right? Because there are still major acts left to play. Hendrix, Leonard Cohen.
Exactly. Kenny found it odd. Didn't expect any more interaction.
And then...
Then Macero walks over to Kenny.
Oh, after the big blow-up and the silence?
Yeah. And what he says is just stunning. He actually thanks Kenny.
Right.
Says thanks for the hard work, the long hours, despite, their rough start.
Okay, that's unexpected. A bit of an apology, maybe.
Maybe. But then he makes this really astonishing request. He asks Kenny, please refrain from going on stage when Hendrix performs tonight.
What? Why? Did he say why?
Kenny asked him that, yeah. And Machero's answer was just chilling. He said, there's a possibility that someone might attempt to kill him tonight.
Get out. Seriously, kill Hendrix.
That's what Macero said. Kenny was understandably completely floored. They shook hands, but Kenny said it felt really uneasy.
I bet. Wow, that's heavy.
It really is. And Kenny, looking back on it later, he felt huge relief when Macero left right after that.
Sure.
But he also realized maybe Mario wasn't just being arrogant earlier. Maybe that warning was like genuine concern, trying to keep Kenny safe.
Huh. That puts a different spin on it.
It does. And it also corrects something people often get wrong.
Mm.
Macero is sometimes credited with supervising Leonard Cohen's set later on.
But he'd already left.
Yeah, hours before Cohen went on stage.
Yeah.
So his departure, that warning, it seems it really was specifically about Hendrix, which makes it even creepier.
Okay, so the night goes on. Hendrix is due. Does he come on stage on time?
No, apparently he kept the crowd waiting quite a while. And by the time he did come on, later that Sunday night, the atmosphere was already a bit tense.
The crowd was tired, edgy.
Yeah, edgy and fatigued is how Denton described it. And pretty quickly, it seemed like something was off with Hendrix himself.
How so?
He just didn't seem to have that usual spark, that charisma. Lost his sense of purpose, maybe.
What was the music like?
Apparently, a lot of it was kind of wandering, out-of-tune, progressive improvisations, Denton called them.
And the massive crowd wasn't feeling it?
Not really. They got restless,
Yeah.
impatient, disgruntled. They wanted the hits.
The classics. Foxy Lady, Purple Haze, that stuff.
Exactly. Not these long experimental jams.
Oh.
Hendrix even apparently sensed it, leaned into the mic and mumbled something like, you want to hear all those old songs, damn.
Sounds like a real disconnect between the artist and, 600,000 people.
It does. Denton felt that while there were flashes of the old brilliance, Hendrix seemed more caught up in being the legend than actually connecting with the audience that night.
Interesting. And then something else happened at the end of his set?
Yeah, as he finished, smoke started swirling around the stage.
Smoke. Like a fire.
People panicked. They thought maybe something had actually caught fire.
And Kenny, having heard Machero's warning just hours before.
Exactly. That warning must have just screamed back into his head. Imagine that moment. Kill him.
Smoke.
Terrifying. But it wasn't an attack.
No, thankfully. Turned out someone in the crowd had just thrown a lit flare onto the stage area. Still dangerous, but not,
Not what Macero had hinted at. Still, what a tense end to a difficult set.
Definitely. Denton's view was that really the main significance of Hendrix being on stage that night was just that it got filmed for the historical record.
Which leads us to the aftermath.
Yeah.
The really unsettling part.
Yeah. Just 19 days later, September 18th, 1970. Kenny wakes up to the news. Jimi Hendrix is dead.
Shocking. And immediately, Machero's warning just comes flooding back into Kenny's mind.
Had Macero known something? Or sensed something?
That's the question Kenny couldn't shake. Did Macero have some kind of actual foreknowledge that day? Or was it just a really, really dark intuition about the pressures Hendrix was under?
We'll likely never know for sure. But it hangs there, doesn't it?
It really does. It makes you think about the whole world surrounding stars like Hendrix back then. The pressures, the dangers, maybe things we don't even know about.
And Kenny had this thought, didn't he, about what might have happened if Hendrix had lived.
Yeah, he speculated that maybe Hendrix would have actually faded from the limelight, maybe ended up playing smaller gigs, little bars across the states.
And his death, if it had come later, might have been just a small news item.
That was Kenny's feeling, that it might have just been a fleeting mention, which is kind of a sad thought in itself.
But also highlights the reality.
Absolutely, because what actually happened is, as Kenny puts it, the undeniable truth. Hendrix became this huge posthumous artist.
One of the biggest. Still is today.
Yeah, his legend was instantly cemented by his death at that peak, even a troubled peak. Maybe in a way that wouldn't have happened if he just carried on and, gotten older.
So, wrapping this up, it's an incredible story. It goes so far beyond just the music recording.
It really does. You've got the sheer scale of the event, the technical challenges, the high-pressure recording environment.
And then this intense clash of personalities, Kenny versus Macero, the demands, the defiance.
Right. And layered on top of all that, this really disturbing warning from Macero. A premonition almost.
It leaves you with that haunting question about Hendrix's death just weeks later.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a powerful reminder, I think, of how much human stuff, emotion, conflict, fear, maybe even foresight is wrapped up in these big cultural moments we think we know.
Yeah, the history we see on film is one thing, but the story's happening just off camera.
Can be even more compelling. It really makes you think, doesn't it? What other stories like this are out there, just under the surface of rock history, waiting to be told?